Hello, everybody, to this community calls for Falco, for the Falco community. A little reminder, Falco is a sincere project, so we are following their code of conduct. Please be kind to each other. This call is also recorded, and the video of the record will be posted on YouTube, on the Falco YouTube channel. So if you don't want to show your face, just turn off your camera. I will be the MC today, and we start with with the first highlight for this week. I think, Jason, it's yours, but it's everybody's.
Yeah, about 5 minutes ago, we released the new Falco version, and we finalized the very last the commit hash for Falco this morning. We waited for the whole CI and pipeline to finish, and it's out there. So packages and container images are available. You can read the blog post to see everything that has been changing over the past few months. There's plenty of new stuff. I think it may be worth to go through each of those points one by one very quickly. So the first one is basically many community folks asked for being able to select which syscalls needs to be instrumented by the kernel instrumentation. Falco in the past used to instrument a restricted amount of syscalls for performance reasons, but there was a static set. Now there is a clean API in libsysp that allows everyone working on other projects based on top of libsysp to select which syscalls and trace point related events needs to be collected at runtime. And Falco uses this to have a more clear set of what's monitored and what's not, and we expect better performance and less drops, and that's a cool one. The second point is the kernel crawler. So this is actually not extremely new. It has been out there for a while, but this is the first real release that truly benefits of the work of this tool. So right now, for those that are not aware, we since compiling locally a kernel module and an eBPF probe, which is what we use to instrument the kernel, is troublesome in many situations. We provide a pretty big metrics automatically built for many kernel versions and distro flavors, and it's very hard to keep up with the latest versions of everything. So now we have a tool that automatically scrapes the web for the most recent things, and we populate an open database out of it. So right now we have plenty of, this is like a great example. We have drivers building for all this stuff, and this is one of the the biggest reasons why we delayed the release so much, because we had trouble building all this stuff in the CI. We need to do better for our next release for sure. But that's exciting because this means Falco being more compatible in many more environments, ARM64 included. I think we can go to the next point real quick.
We have no more than 7,700 different drivers.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, really.
Almost 8,000. It's huge, especially if we compare with the version 2 of the drivers.
We used to be below 1,000 some time ago, a few releases ago. So that's a really, really great milestone. Huge thanks to Federico specifically for having led the effort on this. 2
times more drivers now.
Yeah. Amazing. Then there is the if you can go back to the exactly. Sorry. There is a customizable ring buffer. So in the past, historically, we have the ring buffer, which is the shared piece of memory that the kernel uses to push kernel events user space for Falco to consume them. And we had a fixed size for this. And there, over the past few months, we have a pretty good big discussion and constructive one on having like a configurable size and then not dynamic, but like letting people tune that value in order to make Falco more, more performant and have less drops in some environments and systems. So now there is obviously a default value, which is what we had before, but now folks can tune that value and see, how beneficial it is in their environment, which is exciting. The next point is mitigating some of the issues we had with the Kubernetes metadata client, which is the pieces of, the piece of software in libsys that allows extracting all the context information about the Kubernetes cluster you've been deploying Falco into. And we had some issues over the past few months because after fixing a couple of bugs, Falco started receiving too much data, and there were some situations in which it could crash. So we now introduced some mitigations for this. This is more like a problem that is complex by nature because the API server really potentially sends tons of data to Falco. So it's very hard from the Falco perspective to filter and only receive what it needs. But right now, Falco is able to at least handle errors gracefully and consume all the data it really uses, trying to discard everything that's garbage instead of crashing like we used to do. The next point is the ability to run multiple event sources in parallel. I was, the one leading this initiative. So since we had the plugin system, the big question started to rise, which is how many event sources can be running in Falco at the same time? Because in the past, we had something similar for the Kubernetes audit log support, which was native, written in C++ inside Falco, but it was not standard at all. So what happened is, with the first release of the plugin system, Falco still stuck in consuming only one event source, one per time. So you could only deploy Falco either for plugin event collection or syscall event collection. If you want both, you had to deploy two different Falcos, which was not very handy, and many folks asked to do more. So now this feature is native in the project, and you're able basically to run all the event sources that you load. So if you run, 10 plugins and you want to also enable syscall for whatever reason you have to do so, now you can, which is also like a very big feature opener for all the community folks that used to run Kubernetes audit logs in the same Falco instance along with syscalls. It's now supported back. And then also new use cases can come out because potentially now we can have plugins instrumenting the host to collect some sort of information, and we can run that plugin along with syscalls, like in a daemon set-like deployment. So that's something exciting that I really look forward to see in the future. There's also now support to Minikube in the driver loader. So this was like sort of an issue that we had because we had to wait for the next Minikube release every time we release Falco, because they used to bundle our drivers inside the Minikube, and we couldn't compile them on the fly. So now we provide pre-built versions of our drivers, and they are fully supported by the driver loader. So in that big matrix that Tomas showed before, yeah, this one, there's also Minikube as a platform officially supported, which is like a more handy way to use Minikube, and should really reduce delays between releases by a lot. So thank you, Aldo, for this. This was like a tiny change, but with a very big impact, I would say. And then we're almost there. Yeah, a minor change about the rate limiter. We have a rate limiter in Falco because for many use cases, their security rules may become too noisy. But having that enabled by default was not like an optimal strategy, according to many discussions that happened, for a while. So we switched that to be optional and disabled by default. So for folks that need that in their environment, this is still a supported feature, but Falco vanilla out of the box will not have it. So no security rule will ever be discarded by Falco by default right now in any situation. And then last point is that there has been plenty of work on the security side, especially on the rules part. So first point is supporting two new syscalls, which are mostly security related. And then there are 3 new security rules, pretty interesting. And then there has been major work. Thank you to Melissa specifically for this, because we had many rules that could not potentially ever be triggered by Falco for whatever reasons, mostly because they had some checks that they could be proven to always evaluate as false. So the rules were never triggered, but they were not enabled. And this was mostly caused by the fact that the default rules had grown so much in the past with community contributions, and there has never been like a huge cleanup effort to optimize it. So this means that Falcon right now has by default less rules to evaluate, and should probably be more performant and drop less events. Of course, you will be able to enable all those rules. They are still available if you need them, but that's a good like improvement for the default Falco. And that's basically it.
Thank you, Jason. Any question about, any feedback?
I see we had some in the chat, but maybe there are, some of them are already solved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Question from Stanley. Maybe you can.
Yeah, the BPF probe, Federico already partially responded. So we're still working on it. There's active development from Andrea, which is not in this call, I see. It's inside the code, but it's not enabled because it's still in the development phase. So for whoever want to, play with it, you can technically compile a Falco running it, which is what we're doing around in development phase, but that's not stable. And we look forward to include that in the next Falco release. That will be an exciting and improvement. Yeah, exactly. Actually, the kernel crawler, responding to Mauro here, the kernel crawler will not be involved in that perspective because the new BPF probe will target only kernels that have the BPF available because it's 5.8 after 5.8, and we will we still haven't defined that yet, but in the initial proposal, Andrea proposed to bundle the probe inside the Falco executable, which is way better in that perspective, because if you have the guarantee that the system supports it, you don't have to download anything from the internet while deploying Falco. So for now, this is a non-issue. We will see for the future when we actually ship it.
Yeah, that's great, but I don't know if all 5.8 kernels have BTF support enabled, because that's something that the distribution can actually enable when compiling the kernel. So if you bump into some distribution and decided like, we don't want BTF, then you have to go get that information somewhere else. So it's something to keep in mind.
This is something I'm curious to see with, especially major cloud providers. Is that something we have for EKS cluster in Amazon, for example? Their cluster is not even in 5 branch right now. It's the last test is 4.8, I think.
I think it's 5.4 last time that I checked, but
okay.
Yeah, still, yeah, we will actually get there.
Okay.
I wish Andrea was here to respond to this, but yeah, that's a very good observation, Mauro, and definitely it's something that it will take care of.
And I also have a question, not about that topic, but is this in this release of Falco, we have the host name field in the payload? I remembered an issue about that.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
In the JSON payloads, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I see.
Okay, this is something that will be managed by Falco Psychic either. Someone is creating a PR for that. Okay.
I remember that we merged, and if it was not in the past release, my guess is that it's in this one.
It's merged for sure, and it had been merged a few weeks ago, so I think it's in this release.
Okay. Then the answer is yes.
I've checked in the changelog right now, and the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. This is something people are requesting for a while.
Yeah, if I can leave like a personal comment on this, pretty big changelog. Like I think this is one of the either the biggest one or one of the biggest that we had since at least I joined the community. And I think this really shows how much like people are contributing to the project. This is growing real fast, especially on libs. Many of my coworkers are libs maintainers, and I see they're struggling like to review all the PRs that are being opened. So this is like a very positive, I think, thing for the project and the development. And I really need to thank everyone for this.
I'm putting on my ecosystem cap for the moment. This was an amazing job from all the core maintainers. So thank you all. And Jason did a lot of work to write this blog post. And we are trying to improve the communication about each release. So if you have any feedback, if you think we should write more details or less details, more examples, whatever about the communication around the new releases, please feel free to share your thoughts in the Slack channel with me and I will spread the word over all people involved in that. With that, thank you, and thank you, Jason, of course. So we are done with the highlight, big highlight. Now the mic is yours, Leo, Aldo.
Yeah, unfortunately, Aldo is not here because he did most of the work on that. But basically, we have a previous on the fly to update the Helm chart to support the latest version of Falco. We will probably merge it tomorrow and release the Helm chart too. This is just a quick update. And the second point, maybe Lorenzo, do you want to talk a bit regarding the Falco Cattle? No.
Yeah, of course. As you know, we worked a lot on Falco Cattle to basically release artifacts linked to the Falco security organization that are rules and plugins essentially for now. And we basically have something in shape now, so we are planning to release it tomorrow. And as you can see in the Falco security organization, there are some packages that are published, indeed related to plugins and rules. I'm gonna send you the link, and I'm pretty happy about that because it took a good effort and finally is taking shape, and hopefully is something useful for everybody to manage rules and plugins and other artifacts to come. So thanks Leonardo and Aldo, who worked with me on this, and also Luca, and hope you will able to enjoy it soon.
Yeah, you and Aldo did most of the work, so kudos to you, because I really like this tool now that was almost dead 1 or 2 months ago. Now is basically a tool that can do basically everything.
Yeah, and we're going to document it as well soon, so don't worry.
By the way, the idea is just to share our plan, our current plan with all the community, is basically just to release a beta version or a pre-release, something like that, as soon as possible, so folks can start playing with it, and then hopefully within the next Falco release cycle, that will be in January, officially release a Falco Cattle, Falco CTL, depending on how you pronounce it, as the official tool to manage plugins, rules, and other artifacts with Falco. That's it.
Thank you, Lau.
And we now have statistics about the downloads. It's nice.
Yeah, the statistics are a bit not trustworthy for the moment. Yeah. We have to solve it, but we will be able to have statistics for that. Nice. Basically, GitHub is not showing the right numbers for the moment.
And by the way, I believe in 1 month or so, Falco Cattle will be also integrated into the Helm chart. So basically, when you have the Falco Cattle in the Helm chart, a user can just create a values YAML for every plugin. Falco Cattle will be able to download the plugin and install it before running Falco. This is the other goal that we have with Falco Cattle.
I also assume one day this will be the main way in which we release security rules for syscalls as well, right?
Yeah.
So that
okay. Exactly.
They can always be up to date.
Because this maybe some of us already know this issue. When new rules come out, it will be not published immediately because it wait into the Git repository of Falco until the next Falco release that usually happens every 3 months or 4 months. I don't remember exactly. So in this way, using this tool, you can receive security updates almost immediately. because we can publish new rules in a specific rules in another repository, or sorry, in a CI repository, and then use Falco Cattle to immediately update the rules.
It will be the same for the driver loader. It could be replaced by Falco Cutter.
Yeah. This is my dream.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I want to remove, I want to get rid of that huge bash file, bash script. Although I still believe that even we replace it with Falco Cattle, in some way we have to provide some backward compatibility. So maybe a stub bash script that reassemble the same commands, and behind it to use Falco Cattle. I hope we will do this within the next release or so.
It will be especially important because with Falco Cutter we'll be able to test if a destination cluster will be if drivers will be available for destination cluster before trying to install Falco. I know people have a big issue when they are trying to upgrade the cluster. They can't know before the upgrade if Falco will still run after.
Exactly.
If we have that kind of mechanism, it will be really nice and smoother for people to integrate that in their CI, like a check to see if I upgrade my EKS cluster, is Falco will run after on that.
Sure. Of course, Falco Cattle is written in Go that is a smarter language than Bash, so we can do a lot of more things with that tool. By the way, I like Bash script. So if there is,
but it's a script. It's not for. It's just a script.
It's just a script, of course. For example, with Falco Cattle, we could, if we need, we could directly talk with the Kubernetes API if we need that during the installation phase. I believe that doing the same thing with Bash script is almost a pain.
I agree.
Jason, you were saying something?
Yeah, a minor thing that I forgot to mention about the release. So maybe it's for folks mostly interested in the libs, which I think in this call will be Terrell, Fred, and Mauro, but many others. I think there is a minor but big change that was released in the new tag, and that's thanks to the work of Federico. Basically, as you may know, there is a generic type of event inside the libscap, which basically is when syscall triggers in the kernel, but Falco does not have specific instrumentation for that for whatever reason. We don't have a kernel failure basically for it. So we have a special event that helps us know that at least one system call has been triggered and called, even though we don't have specific instrumentation for it. Problem is that Falco still need to give a name to all those syscalls, and we didn't really have a really satisfying set. So most of that, type of syscall may have been ending up in NA name, not available. So Federico did a great work in at least inserting the name. So we don't have maybe parameters or other sort of very good information about it, but maybe for other projects, it will be helpful to at least know which syscall have been triggered all the time if you're interested to. So that's I think a big change from the driver perspective.
But this is a spoiler because it isn't yet released.
No, actually, no. Wait a sec. The tool, but the big list, like a very big updated list, it's already in the release. So,
are you sure?
Yeah, better than before. Yeah.
Oh,
I know because by refactoring the list of events printable by Falco, we now print a much bigger list potentially because we have more generic events.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Okay.
But I know what you're referring to. Yeah, there will be an automated tool for this in the future.
Okay, thanks, Joseph.
We are doing too many things, so.
Any more questions? Okay, next item is mine. Now we have a fresh new release of Falco with a fresh new version of the plugin framework. We'll be able to release a plugin to consume Kubernetes audit logs for EKS clusters. Basically, the plugin will grab those logs from CloudWatch and make Falco ingest them. The good news with that is the rules we already have for Kubernetes audit logs will also work with that. So if you want to give a try, you're welcome. The idea is to replicate that for all major cloud providers, of course.
Yeah, I would love to see the same thing for GKE. Yeah. By the way, great job, Thomas.
Someone is writing a plugin, Ahmed is not there, for collecting audit logs from GCP, like we have for CloudTrails. So nice. We will be able to protect GCP account like we can do for Amazon account.
I like it.
Next point, who's going to KubeCon next week? Please raise your hand. Leo, Jason.
Mauro is not coming. I see from his face.
No, I'm staying home. I don't have the budget to go.
We will see in Amsterdam next year.
Hopefully, I have some personal stuff going on that might prevent me from going to that too, but we'll see.
Okay.
So for people that will join us, by us, I mean Leo and Jason, because I will be in holidays next week. Take a look at the Falco booth, and there's also a Falco party on Tuesday evening, I think. So maybe you will find out the details for sure. We cancel the next community call day, of course, because everybody will be at KubeCon. So see you in 2 weeks for others. And following the tradition, if you are new here, you have to introduce yourself if you want. It's not a requirement. So the mic is yours. Mai.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person new here. So yeah, I'm working at Quaslab. I'm working in Paris. I think you are French, Thomas, now. I saw...
Français, oui.
Yeah, I saw some like a meetup where you presented the Falco sidekick or something like that. But yeah, anyway.
Maybe.
So yeah, I'm working at Quaslab, a French security consultancy and security lab. And yeah, I just want to know a little bit more about your community talks, and that's it, I guess. Just wanted to get the news.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else is new? I don't think so. Thank you, everybody. See you in 2 weeks. Enjoy the KubeCon. Enjoy your time off if you have. Enjoy your time at work.
Enjoy Falco 0.33.
Enjoy Falco 0.33, of course. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, all. Have a good one.
Bye.